Hi and welcome to The Blacklist. Last year, Digital Spy spoke about the top 10 most influential movies in black cinema, and this year we're switching up and we are talking about TV. These are shows that are heartfelt to me and I really want to share with you because they've impacted me a lot. But before we can move on to those shows, we must mention some television shows that are also in the Black Hall of Fame. The reason they're not a part of my list is because these are shows that we've spoken about time and time again, but I feel like they're really key and we must mention them. Those are Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and by extension Bel-Air as well. If you haven't seen it, it is a great modernized drama of the comedy that we all know and love from the 90s. Moesha, Sister Sister, and Desmond's. They are not on my top 10 hitters, not because they don't deserve a place there, they obviously do, but because they're the most talked about celebrated shows when it comes to discussing black television, so you probably already know what I'm going to say about them. They are gorgeous representations of black family, black joy, and black community. They really embrace the authenticity of black culture and black struggles in a clever, relatable way. With that out of the way, here's time for my top 10 picks.
Hey, Herc!
The only other names I knew my father by were the ones my mother called him, and they didn't have nothing to do with being strong.
Everybody Hates Chris is just such a vibe. I think it's one of my favorite shows because it talks about all the little things that you see being raised in a black family, in a black household. There's always that debate at home. Can we go out to eat? No, there's food in the house. There's that one episode where Tanya is forced to sit at the dinner table to eat that sausage, and I think it stays there for the entire episode. And these little quirks are just very, very relatable and funny to me because it's stuff that I experienced myself. There's a whole kind of like idea that black families are broken families, mothers and fathers are not always together. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing if they aren't together, but also it's really lovely to see a black family unit. Everybody Hates Chris seasons 1 to 5 is available to watch on Hulu in the US and streaming on Now/Sky in the UK.
Try answer today, I want to be ready.
Lock down that point guard spot.
There's no point guards in field hockey, Dad.
Field hockey?
Kenya Barris's Blackish came out in 2014 and it did something that few shows have ever done before, at least not consistently. It asked the question, what does it mean to be black? He didn't just ask the question, he publicly and openly put it out for discussion. So often we are marginalized by stereotypes. We're told to be one way, speak one way, dress one way, and this show really questions what it means to be black and what does the black culture mean. What Blackish does is examine the black experience through love and humor, ultimately answering the question that there is no one way to be black. It's definitely like a family sitcom. It's very warm, very funny. You get to see the intricacies of how the family work and how they bond with each other and how they fight with each other. And it's all that love wrapped up in one show. The character Junior is a perfect example of the question that envelopes the show. What does it mean to be black? He doesn't quite fit the mold. He isn't the cool, stereotypical black character that you often see. He's got his own quirks, his own way to be. And continuously over the show, he struggles with his identity with being black. Does he have to speak one way? Does he have to be one way? And ultimately he learns throughout the seasons that he is enough as he is. He can be whoever he is and that is black enough. And I just love that. I find that really enriching. Personally love Junior because on his journey, he struggles with his own blackness. He struggles with what it means to be black, and his own interests seem to clash with that idea, that stereotypical idea of being black. And as somebody who has personally felt othered by my blackness, it was nice to see him learn and grow, that it doesn't matter who you are, what you like, what your interests are, you are black enough. And that to me was just really enriching. And I hope other black children who may, or black people who may feel othered, take from that what I did. Blackish seasons 1 to 8 are available on Disney Plus in the UK, and in the US, that would be Hulu.
If the store has 10 potatoes, right, and you take away 2 of them, how many potatoes would the store have left?
Janine, what did I say about taking my potatoes from the lunchroom?
But visual learning is so much better.
Well, guess what? Now you have 0 potatoes.
Abba Elementary sees Quinta Brunton star in the lead role as a newbie teacher trying to help a predominantly black school that is falling into disrepair. I am a huge fan of Quinta Brunson. It's one of the reasons why that drew me into the show in the first place. She started out as a YouTuber doing BuzzFeeds with the Black Lady Sketch Show. She was talking about things like perm box, which I completely relate to as well. And so it's so edifying to see her journey from YouTuber doing BuzzFeed now to having her own show that she's written herself. So for me, that was really rewarding to see. Besides being funny and witty and charming, it's just great to see her journey. And it's also nice to see Black education framed in a positive and optimistic light. The children at Abbott Elementary are taught to be inspired by their teachers. Not exactly all of their teachers, some of them are a complete mess. But at least Quinta Brunson's character is very uplifting as well, and she is trying to shape the school in a way that is rewarding for these children. So I think it's just a nice little sweet watch. The kids are very cute in the show, so if not for Quinta, you'll definitely want it for that. The show's cast is also a massive draw for me. Moesha's Shirley Lee Ralph is there, and she's amazing. Everybody Hates Chris's Tyler James Williams, and Parent Trap's Lisa Ann Walker. Abba Elementary is available in the UK on Disney Plus and on ABC in the US.
I know everything. When are you going to get that? Soon you'll be king.
Yes.
Hey, the man of the hour.
I don't think I can do this thing.
Do not embarrass me this day.
Blood Sisters is a sharp, bloody thriller about two best friends who become embroiled in disaster when one of them decides to leave their fiancé at the engagement party. One of my favourite things about Blood Sisters is the quality of it. There is this preconceived notion that Nigerian dramas are long-winded, bloaty, and overly dramatic, which is true of some of them, but I think Blood Sisters proves that it's not true of all of them. Blood Sisters really doesn't labour the point. It gets straight into the drama, and I think you'll be captivated by the mess that these two get themselves into. This is a great opportunity for Nigerian TV shows to really get an international audience behind them. There's some real quality behind some of these shows and films, and so it's really nice that they found a place on Netflix for you to view.
There is strength in difference.
One of my best mates is in hospital.
What happened?
Police.
They say he attacked two policemen.
Well, they lied.
They just tell us what we want to hear. We don't even question any of it.
Mallory Blackman's Noughts and Crosses came out when I was in secondary school, and the wait for the library was just insane. So when it came out on television, it was very, very rewarding for me to see. So many of us were intrigued by the role reversal aspects of things. It was an opportunity for non-blacks to see race from a different perspective. From gorgeous costumes to race relationships and politics at play, Callum and Seffi's love just seems to thrive within that universe. No spoilers for the ending, but you'll definitely find it a really emotionally rich watch. Noughts and Crosses Series 1 and 2 is available to watch on BBC iPlayer.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize.
Raising Dion is everything that I wanted as a child and everything that I love as an adult. The show follows the life of a single mum who's raising a superhero kid who's being hunted by some evil force called the Crooked Man. Raising Dion ticks a lot of boxes. It's inspiring and uplifting. And while the idea of getting superpowers in real life isn't necessarily realistic, the idea that you can see yourself as powerful and strong and all-conquering shouldn't be something that's alien for Black kids growing up. So that's why it really means a lot for me to see the new generation seeing themselves in this way. It's also refreshing to me to see as an adult, because it's nice to see a single Black mother not be villainized. She is a hardworking mother. She's doing everything she can for her child, and it's nice to see that be represented in a positive light. She's not a figure of shame or somebody that needs to be explained away. She, in her own rights, aside from Dion, is really powerful herself, even without the superpowers, and that's really just wholesome to see. Its cancellation is devastating to me, and quite frankly came way too early, but I can watch seasons 1 and 2 over and over again, and I think you should too. Seasons 1 and 2 of Raising Dion are available to watch on Netflix.
Who you were in the park with?
I don't know names. I just got lost.
Where did you see the lady?
One lady.
When They See Us is the most important watch on this list, but it's a difficult one to get through. The docudrama follows the destroyed lives of 5 men formerly known as the Central Park Five. Just children at the time, these 5 boys were convicted of raping and brutally assaulting a white woman in Central Park. Despite there being no evidence to prove this, the boys were coerced into signing false confessions. They were sentenced to prison and juvenile detention sentence for between 5 and 15 years, and only 13 years after their sentencing were they exonerated by confession and evidence from the real attacker. It's important because they were horribly and publicly failed, so any opportunity to publicly speak of their innocence is worth doing. It's also important because there are huge learnings from this situation that we as a community must take forward. As well as the docudrama, there is also the Oprah Winfrey interviews with the men called Oprah Winfrey Presents When They See Us Now. I would highly recommend you watch that as well because it gives you their first-hand account of what they went through. When They See Us is available to watch on Netflix.
Oh, it's marching like you're the stormtrooper hunting the Jedi. You got to be the Jedi doing the hunting of the stormtrooper.
What are you blinking talking about?
Sounding in Ross Barlin, man. What are you blinking talking about?
Small Axe is a collection of 5 individual stories set in Britain that all inform each other by the legendary director Steve McQueen. The issues explored in the show are so relevant today despite being set in the 60s and 70s. It covers everything from identity and what it means to be black to race relations with the police and the black education system. It's really refreshing because the 60s and 70s was a really pivotal time in black British history, so it's nice to kind of get that story out there and get those stories told. Stylistically, it's a beaut. Even though these stories are told individually, the way that the music connects them really helps the stories flow. Small Axe is available to watch on BBC iPlayer in the UK and Prime Video in the US.
Issa? Is that me? Oh shit, throwback me? This new look is working for us. Do you like this? And we got our braces off. Let me see them teeth. Let me see them teeth. Let me see them teeth. Show me how you eat. We stupid.
Insecure is about the character Issa, who herself is struggling with her own insecurities as she tries to navigate life. Issa Rae is just a genius. What's perfect about Insecure can be summed up in the first episode. Straight off the bat, it addresses the most common insults often hurled at black women. Why don't you speak like a white woman? What's up with your hair? It touches on the problematic, toxic differentiation between black and being African. The question of, are you single? And then she's called bitter because she becomes defensive. All of this comes out of the mouth of children, showing just how affected they are by these toxic ideologies. And all of that heaviness is packaged in humour while still nailing the premise of the show. Insecure seasons 1 to 5 is available to rent or buy on Amazon Prime and available to stream in the US from HBO Max.
Hey Sugar, like your horns and everything.
It's really amazing that you think your opinion should just be heard.
I thought we were with
Kayla Cole's I May Destroy You isn't about the lead character Arabella's blackness, although it is inevitably and intrinsically a part of the story. It is instead about exploring the line between consent and rape. After having her drink spiked and being raped, Arabella begins to question other sexual encounters that she's had in the past and those that she continues to have. The show is about finding your voice, honouring your no, and stepping away from that self-blame that victims often do after an attack. The whole idea of what I could have done better and should have done better is tossed out of the window. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary because these are the kind of conversations that we need to have in society. What Michaela Cole has done with this show is absolutely incredible. She's drawn from her own experiences to write this incredible watch, which is really deep and really meaningful. She's a black British writer, and I just think it's one of those ones that's worth celebrating. I May Destroy You is available to watch on BBC iPlayer in the UK and HBO Max in the US. Thank you so much for watching. Please, please, please go out and watch these shows. They are absolutely incredible. You will not regret it. And if you want to know any more, please follow me on Digital Spy.